and life insurance needs, make things simple, and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character. Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeaversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character. Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character. Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, My colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Cover's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Cover's Voice, Cover's Voice, CoversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Brunch Bunch. I am so excited to see everyone here with us today. We have an exciting show. So today, we are going to talk to Miss Nicole Harris. Wave. All right, and she was one of the authors of a wonderful book that was actually brought together. Dee Dawkins Hagler, brought a bunch of women together, and we individually told our stories. And so she basically asked us a simple question: what would you tell your younger self, or what would you tell your daughter? Okay, and she wanted us to give advice to our younger self, or the advice we would give to our daughters. So we took that as a challenge, and we all wrote a chapter. And the name of the book is called A Message to Our Daughters. And so I'm just so blessed today to have Nicole with us. But before we dive into that, I want to introduce two other lovely ladies. One is Miss Janaea Johnson, who you probably recognize from our first show. Hey, everybody. And then the second person is Deidre Arnold. And Deidre is coming live from South Carolina, from the of Greenville, South Carolina. So I'm just excited to have you both here with me today. So we're going to start out by talking to Nicole and talking about her chapter. I'll also share a little bit about my chapter in the book. And then from there, we are going to hit on a very interesting topic that actually one of our other Brunch Bunch members sent to us. And she asked the question about family secrets and the fallout of a family secret. So that is what we're going to focus on today. So we're going to get started with talking to Nicole. And of course, as always, in brunch, you have to have your drink on deck. So there we go. And so we are ready to dive into the conversation today. Okay, so Nicole, darling.
Yes.
Can you give us a little background information on you, like where you're from, and also talk about what made you say yes when Dee asked you to write? What made you say yes?
Besides me being too afraid to tell Dee no.
that is why.
That's a very good point, right? Well, I'm Nicole Harris. I'm originally from Columbus, Georgia. I went to Carver High School. I graduated from Albany State College, University, and I also graduated from Clark Atlanta University. I pledged Delta Sigma Theta, and I'm a Jack and Jill mom. I have two children. One is 27. She's a girl. She's also a Delta. And I have a son, Hunter, that is 13, and he thinks he's my dad.
Of course.
And I'm a social worker by trade. So I have a license in social work. I'm an LCSW. I own a foster care agency, and I've owned that since 2007. I have a counseling agency, and I've had that since 2009. And I have a group home for autistic boys, and I've had that since 2015.
Okay.
So that's me.
Doing big things.
Yes. So when Dee approached me about the book, she approached me in a season of my life that I was in transition. And so she was asking me to hurry up quickly, birth this book. And I'm realizing that my hesitation, along I'm sure with a lot of other women, was not only was she asking us to quickly write this book, but it was also to deal with our pain. And our pain was a lot. I'm sure most of us had not dealt with any of that or thought about our stories in such a way to write it to anyone. So that alone was a challenge. So she was quickly asking us not only to put it on paper, but to also heal.
Yeah.
And be transparent. So that was one of my challenges.
Yes, and that is definitely a great point, because when they're asking you to do something like that, and if you want to do it in an authentic way, you have to be honest.
Yes.
A lot of these things that I've read in the book, it's like, first of all, we are amazing because the way we stand so tall, and you read the story of what we had to go through to get to where we are, you would have never guessed it. Like, it's kind of like the phrase, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Because it's amazing. And, so I'm sure in writing those pieces, I'm sure it brought a lot up. And it also forced you to actually talk about your truth. And these are some things that were probably suppressed and people didn't even think about.
Yes. Yes. And now you have to also talk to your family, because you need to let them know what you're about to write about.
Yeah.
And you have to process their feelings about what you are about to write about, because it also affects them.
It does, because it does call people out. When I read some of the stories, I was like, oh my goodness, you would have never guessed, and you would have never known. And to be honest, I hadn't even read my chapter after re-editing it, sending it off. I hadn't even looked at it.
Me either. I haven't even read any of the other latest chapter. I'm gonna have to be ready.
Yeah, you have to be ready, and you can't do it all in one sitting, because you know these people personally, and as an empath, Nicole, you take on their pain, and you want to drop over to everybody's house and just drop off a love. It's definitely something you cannot read all in one sitting because of that reason, because of the close connection. So, why are you now happy that you were part of the book story?
It actually sparked another side of me in my career. You and I talk all the time about just our basic life concerns, with our children, with being divorced, with starting a new life, just normal everyday life things. And I'm not one to sit. I'm one to put things in action. So this didn't just happen to me. I'm not a victim. Why it happened for a reason. And so what do I now need to do to put something in action? And so what I've started doing is actually started to speak to people more. Starting that process, branding myself so I can go do speaking engagements. And for me, it's not financial. I'm not doing any speaking engagements to gain any resources, because I'm blessed in that area that my career is social work. So this is just me following my calling. And so I'm charged. After I wrote the book, I am now charged to go and speak and let people know that there is freedom in truth. When you hear your grandmother say and people say, the truth shall set you free, you have no idea what that really means. It is absolutely true. It will set you free, and you feel free. So now that I have started, because there are many other things I have not spoken of, but that's just one phase of my life. But when you start that, now you begin to want to speak that and let other people know that it is freedom in living in your truth.
Yes. And that brings me to my next question. I'm glad you mentioned that. This is one of many. We talk all the time.
Yes.
So, yeah. So my question to you is, why did you choose that story? Because you could have chosen a thousand.
Yes.
So why did you choose that story to share?
You know what? I said that was the beginning. That was the beginning of me realizing my path was not going to be easy. And what other people can do in the world, I am not that person. I absolutely cannot do what other people do because my I'm gonna say, for lack of better words, my karma for that isn't the same. So I have to be very mindful about how I move, and I learned that at 19 very fast. So I cannot do tit for tat. It doesn't work out well for me.
Well, speaking of that, you talk a lot about your life path in your chapter. And so you could explain, because people are going to read this book. So can you explain what that means? I know what it means because of the time we spend together, right? And we talk about. But can you explain to other people why you feel like you can't move and operate like other people do? You can't throw something and hide your hand. What is your life path, and what does that mean? And what does that mean to the 15-year-old little girl who's making decisions right now and they don't understand that? So can you explain that a little further for us?
Right. So when I say life path, it means, what did God decide to put me on this earth? Hey, this is what I need you to do when you go to earth. This is what I've chosen you to do. That means that it comes with a responsibility and a requirement, but pain. Mm-hmm. So just as much as I'm broken, He absolutely blesses and covers me. So if I want to move in that space of covering and blessings, then I also have to move in the pain and the purpose of it. So which means I choose to move in such a way that this is what God has asked me to do. So when things happen to me, my return of my thinking, trying to move in my path, is, why did this happen to me? How am I now supposed to help someone else? So that is, everybody's here to do something and to help. But you have to know your path. You have to understand that what your path is. So which means, if I go and slap you, Lydia, well, you may say, okay, well, we just don't fight. But for me to do that, and your comeback may be, okay, well, I fought her, I'm done. You move on with your life. But for me to slap you, that means it's gonna be 10 more people lined up just to slap me back. So it is not worth my one slap to you to get 10 different slaps from different people, because that's my path. So whatever I do, because the power that God expects from me is different. So whatever I do to you, it comes back 100-fold. Not to mistaken that things happen so I can be pushed, because sometimes I create my own out of fear. I don't like to be in front of the cameras. I don't like to do any of this with what I'm doing. But I also understand that if I don't, because of my purpose, the what God may do to me for not doing it, I may be on the news anyway. And it may be something I really don't want to be on the news for. So He gonna make me be comfortable with the camera. You uncomfortable with the camera? Here, now you in a scandal. And I'm like, well, how did I get here? So had you just got on the internet with Lydia when she asked you, maybe you can avoid the whole scandal that's happening. So that's what I mean by it's going to happen. Either I'm going to go easily, or I'm going to go kicking and screaming. So I choose to go with this one, easy.
Okay. All right. So in your chapter, you tell a story. And I'm not going to give away too much of the story because people need to purchase the book. But you do something that most people at your age at that time would not have been able to do. Okay. Look, Deidre to say, nah, dog. Okay. So I have a few questions about that. And if you have questions, Deidre and Janae, feel free to chime in. And I read in the book why you chose to share. So don't share the secret that you had to share out to everyone. But can you take us through that process before you got to the point where you just say, everybody come to the kitchen table, as everybody sit down, look, this is what happened, and this is what it is. what was your process? And I'm just, when I was reading it, I was just thinking about the battle we go through with ourselves, and just thinking even biblically, when people are told that they have to do something and they kind of go back and forth with it, even down to Jesus Christ, how he went back and forth with, is this really what you want me to do, kind of thing. So what was that process like before you got to the point where you just let it out? What was that struggle like?
Ooh, I debated with it myself. I kept saying, well, maybe it can't be. I said, okay, well, God, if you just show me if it's this sign, then I know I have to tell it. And that sign happened. I said, okay. Well, what if I just don't tell it? What if I just don't say anything? And I think what really made me go ahead and make the decision is that ultimately, it was my decision. Who, at the end of the day, it affected my child more than anybody sitting at the table. Mm-hmm. So what I was going early is moving in my power. Nobody tells my story or takes power away from me. I hand it to people. So by moving in the untruth, that meant I was handing over my power for the rest of my life to other people to try to figure it out, to see that somebody was going to notice and tell, or a politician, and somebody says, oh, by the way, let's just roll this out, and the amount of people it could have hurt then. And I never wanted anyone to tell, or I never want anyone to tell my child something that I've not told them. I never will allow anyone to have that type of power over me. I'm going to do it in my way, in my timing. So then that person has it from me, and they aren't taking off of their, out of their comfort zone. So it was really important to me not to hurt my daughter. So I was willing to be the lady with the issue of blood. Everybody isolate from the town. I'll take it. How long y'all gonna be mad? So I think I feel freer in a space that I'm authentically who I am.
Okay. All right, and you also in the book talk about love a lot, and so your advice is to choose love. Always go back to love. And how are you able to do that? And can you help us in some of our audience members that are having issues with being able, even when people hurt you, to go back to the space of love?
Okay. Because you can just go back and think about all the things that you have done and I have done, not from a place of love. And so if we've had grace and mercy, even to ourselves, because sometimes we don't, it's not even spiritual. The spiritual part is within ourselves. So when we have done things to other people and we want someone to forgive us, then we have to also go to that space for ourselves. Because there are only two things, love and fear. Mm-hmm. So either you are on the space of the angle of love, or you're on the side of fear. So if you remind yourself that fear creates anxiety and stress and worry and not sleeping and all the other things that come, and love creates peace and calm and serenity and assurance and confidence. So you always remember these are the things that you would prefer to have. So if you move in a space of anger and resentment, that is actually what you're going to manifest. So I'm big on manifestation. So what you think is what happens, and we create our reality. So if I think more about love, and I think about when I lay it down at night after I say my prayers, then I just close my eyes and I just picture love just overtaking me. So when I picture love overtaking me, how can I be upset with someone? Because they kind of become irrelevant. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, if you want to be angry and stay in your space, then go right ahead. But I'm going to move in the space of love and peace and blessings. because eventually that is what I'm going to manifest: the love, the peace, and the blessing. Even if I don't believe it myself, even if I have to do a whole lot of therapy to get to love, peace, and blessings, it's absolutely the best space to focus on, because there are only two spaces you're going to be in: love or fear.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Does you have any questions?
No.
No? Oh, she had to unmute herself. Okay. And so I definitely agree with you, Nicole, on several of the points that you made, especially when it came to putting everything together to actually write the book. And when we're looking at the courage it takes to put certain things on paper, especially when it deals with other people. It's not just your story, because you're talking about things that affected you that other people may have been involved in. And so that was one of my challenges in writing my chapter. And like I hadn't really pushed it out or advertised it to a lot of family members because I know kind of the backlash that may happen. And so it's just really interesting. Like mine was really about telling them who you are or showing them who you are. Mm-hmm. So when I watched the movie The Black Panther, I just got over when the mom told Black Panther, show them who you are. And just me working in education, oftentimes our kids do stuff and they act out in a way that they clearly can't know who they are and what gifts they possess and their life path and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And I think we as a people, there's so many gaps in who we are, historically, yes. That aren't being taught to our kids. There's a certain history our kids learn from the beginning that does not include really who we are as a people. Yes. You don't have a parent or a network that's teaching you these things. You have no idea, and you think you came from the place of slavery. But even if you believe that's the place you came in, think about how strong you have to be to even endure that kind of life and be able to make it where you made it. Where we have people who bought their way out of slavery. Absolutely. And able to run for office and become the first millionaire and things of that nature. Those aren't the stories our kids are being taught. So then I've reflected on my own life and just the negativity that had been constantly placed on me to dim what I feel like God had in store for me and what my purpose was.
Yes. Yes.
And so that in itself, even before I put pen to paper, brought me totally in tears. And I feel like I would be able to tell some of the parts of my story that occurred in the formative years of my life when I should have been loved and taken care of. And that was replaced by things that are opposite, as you say, opposite of love. Everything the opposite of love. Right. So I started reflecting on how good God is to me to be able to create a person that still has love in them based on where I came from.
Yes. Yes. And that's huge. And I think that's what our young girls miss out on, is that you aren't what has happened to you. Mm-hmm. You aren't the choices and the decisions you make. Yeah. So although I made that decision at 19, God still chose to bless me at 48. So that didn't determine the rest of my future. So we have to forgive ourselves and forgive the people because they don't know. We don't know. We don't know until we know. And sometimes we have to go through things so we don't offend other people.
Yep.
So that's huge.
So right now we're going to take a break. And so we are going to be right back. And what we're going to talk about next is just different things that may have happened in your family and the secrets that occur in families and the backlash from those secrets.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character. Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida.
All right, welcome back. I'm so glad you guys are here with us. If you missed the first half, you can always, go back because it's not like we're in 1980 and you can't. But if you missed the first half, we have Janaea on. Deidre's going to pop back on with us. And we have our special guest, Nicole. And she is one of the authors of A Message to Our Daughters. And she was here today sharing her story and taking questions. So what we're going to let her do right now is we're going to let her share a little more of her story that was actually in the book. And then our other guests are going to talk about sometimes how a family secret, the backlash of that and how that may affect a family. So Nicole, would you like to share more of your story?
Yes. So the basis of my story, you have to get the book, but the basis of my story, how I navigated through it, is that at 19, I got married very young. I went to overseas with my husband at the time. I realized he was cheating and it was an abusive relationship. And so I came back and hooked up with my college sweetheart. Had no idea what our relation looked like. I mean, this is like the early 90s. They did not talk to us about sex education. I mean, that wasn't something that you discussed. But I came back. I had a great hangout time because I thought I was leaving my husband. I'm like, oh my God, he's cheating and we're married. Who does this? So I'm leaving. I come back. I have a great weekend with my college sweetheart, only to find out later I'm pregnant. And so I'm like, whoa, wow, okay. What happened? I'm not sure whose baby it is. I'm just nervous. And so I go back overseas because at the time my husband convinced me, well, you just need to come back and we need to figure it out. So I'm pregnant. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. So I get back in the whole 9 months I'm praying like, oh my God, just please let it be a girl. I said, God, if I have to raise her by myself, let it be a girl. Let her look exactly like me. And give me a sign that whose child she is. When she came out, I said, oh yeah, she looked like me. There was one sign that I looked at. I said, "Oh yeah, she ain't the husband." Oh my God, what am I gonna do? I said, "Okay." So I kind of move on. I'm trying to process. I'm only 19. I am trying to process this. We finally get back to the States, and she was still months old by this time, and so I realized that I can't live like this. I can't live like this. I mean, even if he sees her, he may be able to pick up on, and he knows around that same time that we had a connection. So I said, "Oh my God, this just cannot be good." And he would give any opportunity to bust me out for sure, for sure. So, I said, I gotta figure this out. So I decide that I'm going to have to tell my family and the husband at the time that she wasn't his. So I talk about in the book my process to get to that point and what that looked like for the husband, what that looks like for his mom, my family, and then later on, because my daughter was young, what that ended up looking like for her. So even you go back and ask me how was it to write this chapter, it was a process to go back to her and said, "Hey, are you okay with me sharing this story?" So my ex-husband and her biological father are very much involved. Both of them are involved. I mean, she got 2 for 1 for sure. So they both surround her with love. But again, I'm talking about everybody's life, and if she was really ready for the world to know that that was her story. And so I sent her what I wrote, and I said, after you read it, call me. And she called me in tears, and she said, "Mom, there were things in here that you didn't tell me. I didn't even know you had endured, and I'm so very proud of you. Yes, do it. Do it. Do it. I'm very, very proud of you." And so for me, that was another release of setting me free, to have the permission from her and the forgiveness from her, because you have to also remember it was something that done to her. I changed her life. That was her. I feel that I offended her in the choices that I made. So I wanted to make sure that she understood that it wasn't just my story, and it was both of our story, and I was going to be respectful of her in that process. So we had to heal and process that in order for me to even write it.
And you talk about the process in the book that you went through to even get to a point where you can be honest about that. And I think that's important for people to understand. There are some things that they may be struggling with, and they wonder why things just won't go right for them in their life, and holding on to these kinds of secrets could destroy you, but it can also stop you from walking in your path and what God truly has for you when you're not honest about these things and you don't release these things.
Yes. Because we talked about the love and the fear, and on the side of fear is addiction, abuse, people getting involved with the criminal system. A lot of times, if you go deep enough, a lot of that is because people aren't living in their truth. And whatever happened to them as a child, most of our things stem from childhood. They just roll over into adulthood. And when we don't deal with those things and we hide them and we try to protect other people and let them, deal with their own shit. I tell my daughter that was my decision. That's my shit. Let me deal with it. Don't you take it on. It's not a reflection of you. It's my shit. Don't take it. So allowing people to deal with their shit. And so I believe that is something that we have to learn to do very early, and releasing it and owning it. And when we own it, now we can help someone else. But if we don't own it, it's like something trapped in our heart, and it hardens our heart. And even if you're going to be very spiritual, which I'm not super spiritual, but religious, let me say that. But God honors the heart. And everything starts and ends with our heart. So we have to be open, and we have to tell our truth so we can be free and released, So now we can help someone else. But those are the things that create. That's why we have children not doing well, because they aren't able to tell. I know I deal with child abuse, so a lot of times kids grow up and they never tell what happened to them, or they're never giving the permission to heal from the pain. And so that's when we start other issues, and now we move and stay on that side of fear, because we're fearing what someone is going to think or say, when 90% of us are connected some kind of way. We've all experienced the same things, or we know someone who's experienced it. So everybody has trauma.
Yeah.
So you might as well let your trauma set somebody else free. Why not?
Yep. Deidre, did you have any questions or comments? I know
I have plenty of comments.
Yeah, so give us some comments. And even just getting on the trauma thing, Deidre and I are both educators, and we talk about that too as well. And I know when I learned more about trauma, it's helped me discipline better in my school, because I look at it as trauma, them acting out due to trauma, and instead of them just, making bad choices or just being bad. And that has helped me be able to tailor those conversations with those kids and let them know they're going to still get it now. But you got consequences. But that I understand, I've been there, I'm not perfect either. And we have to, and let me teach you how to make better choices despite what happens when you leave these doors every day.
What you've been taught, yeah.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting that our life paths are very similar, in the sense that, well, for one, I worked in social work. My first job was DFACS. Keep in mind, none of this was in the life plan. So, like, I was one of those nerdy kids I had it planned out, and this was how it's supposed to go. And I lived in a culture where it wasn't very forgiving. It wasn't like growing up as a nerd, because I'm just I use it fondly now, but back then it wasn't. And it took a long time, and I had to go through experiences to realize, okay, it's okay to be broken or not perfect. That was the big thing. I wanted, somewhere in my mind, I didn't realize I wanted to be perfect, but I wanted to be perfect. And so when things happen, it was like, shit. So similar to you, I ended up having a daughter, married her father. He was nowhere in the plan. Nobody would have put us together. And so going through the experiences, I won't share everything, but Lydia's smiling because she knows. I had some things where I didn't listen to God, and he told me to leave, and I ended up in some situations. And so when I finally got out of it, just like you, it was like, okay, so I'm going to either tell the story or somebody else going to tell the story. So let me go and tell the story. This is what happened, and me and my baby finna move on. Okay? So Lydia and I ended up meeting. Well, not me. We met at FAM. But, and you talk about God's timing and how he puts people in your life. Just the whole situation. I had not talked to Lydia since her freshman year in college. I was a year ahead of her, and so I was an RA, and I had not talked to her literally since the freshman year. Now, what was even crazier is her name stood out to me for whatever reason, and I said I was going to name my first daughter Lydia. Well, I didn't. But I ended up bumping into her at a teacher fair. Being a teacher was something that also wasn't in the plan. Had no plans of being a teacher at all. When I left high school, I remember thinking, I don't ever want to step back into school again. Okay? And now I've been there 20 years. So where our paths are similar, I teach children with trauma. That's been my whole profession. And I think if I had not gone through what I went through at 21, 22, I would not have been able to relate to those kids at all. And even though my life has not been as traumatic as theirs by no means, I still could relate to having a situation now that I don't think. And so I can see where God lines stuff up for me to be able to do what I do now, that I wouldn't, even down to working at DFACS. I only worked for the Department of Family Children Services for like maybe a year and a half, 2 years. But just that experience opened my life and my eyes up to realize that people go through stuff that I can't even imagine going through. And so I always liked how the mind worked, and just your outlook on, hey, I'm gonna tell the truth. This is my truth. I'm the only person that's got to live with it. You either like it or love it. It really don't matter. So just that part of it has helped me be able to deal with kids, to deal with trauma, to deal with life turns. And especially as being a woman, there's so many expectations for us. And I think, like Lydia knows also, I'm really big on the mental health of women right now. That's my thing right now. I'm really, really big on mental health and how we're not dealing with our mental health. And a lot of it comes, like you said, from childhood trauma, or not dealing with it, or trying to live up to this false, whatever we create in our brain that life is going to be. And so, and to go back to your story and reading your story the whole time, I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't know if I would have been brave enough. Like, I wasn't even brave enough to tell this cat. So the similarity was, we were supposed to get married, and I decided I wasn't going to marry him. Well, right around the time I decided I wasn't going to marry him, I found out I was pregnant. So it was like, my struggle was, how do I go to my parents and tell them, hey, we're going to call the wedding off, but by the way, I'm pregnant. Okay? I was not strong enough to do that. And in turn, lived through some unnecessary trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't take me but 2 years to get out of it, because I ain't no dummy. But that's still, not that I'm calling other women who stay in that, I'm not calling them dumb, but I'm a quick learner. And I'm not going to stand stuff that's painful but for so long. I can't do it. I'm not built like that. So, but I learned a whole lot out of those 2 years. It made me brave enough that now, if something's going on, I don't really care what you think about it. Because you don't have to go to sleep with me at night. You don't have to, like you said, trauma and that fear. A lot of stuff is, like you said, fear-driven. Mm-hmm. A whole lot of, and that's all it was. Okay, how am I going to tell? First of all, I'm finna have a baby out of wedlock. We don't do that. Okay. Then later on in life, my daggone sister do it, and she move on. But at my point in time, I didn't feel like I could do that. I didn't feel like I could take that to my family. And that was a lot of stress on me. So the women that have to go through that, now I realize having a baby is not the end of the world. Like, it just ain't. Life goes on. You raise them. Shoot, me and Lydia, God sent Lydia, we raised our babies together for a good little while. Although I didn't have a husband, I had a whole village.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was what I learned in an early age. We were in that same age range. I was a little bit older than you were, but I still wasn't as brave as you were at 19. But I learned from it, and it molded me. And I think we do have to learn from life's lessons. You got to. Like you, karma, it don't play with me.
Right. Because it's lessons. It's the core is lessons.
Yeah.
One of my lessons, I'll tell y'all another day, calls me jail.
Well, that's the part I didn't want to say. Girl, we got to talk after. Look, we need to talk off the air.
Us better talk on the air. But and I know she's probably like, oh, that's the story you wrote about? I know one that's even worse than that one, but okay. I was like, really? That's what your chapter is?
But I say that was my Jonah in the well experience. I didn't listen to God. And so he was like, okay, you ain't hear me when I was just tapping on your shoulder. All right, let me tap a little harder. And so if you think not being able to tell my parents I didn't want to marry somebody that I was pregnant by, imagine having to go and do a weekend in jail. It was like, oh Lord, who these ain't my people. These ain't my kind. So
these are not my peers.
These are not my people. Like, I was clutching my pearls, my imaginary pearls. But it was a total experience that I'll never forget, because it taught me way more than my whole 4 years at FAMU. Mm-hmm. Just those 3 days taught me, for one, I ain't never want to go there or be there, and I was gonna stay on the right side of the law, and to listen to God, because the tap's only gonna get stronger. Like, if you don't listen, they're only gonna get stronger. And I heard him clearly. So that was the other thing. So he had just beat my behind. Like, okay, you don't hear me. All
And
right.
you know, sometimes he'll do things to save us.
And that was definitely to save me. It was
No,
definitely.
it's to save us. It's not even because we're not listening. It's that he knows that we don't even have a way. We can't even we can't even process how to get out of something. So he'll create something to happen. So now he'll say, "Now here's your out. Take it."
And it was yes.
And don't look at it as I've hurt you or harmed you or come out of it and with on the fear side, come out on the love side.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, he made me face mine so deeply. The judge that I had to stand before went to church with me.
Wait, did I know that?
I'm sure you did. You probably just don't remember that part because the rest of it was so ridiculous. And when I saw the judge the following Sunday, he was like, "Didn't I just see you?" I was like, "Yeah, that shit ain't funny." So, like, you know, just the whole experience, God was like, you're gonna have to stand up to this, and you're gonna have to stand in this, and you're gonna have to be a woman.
And face it.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna set somebody else free one day.
Yeah, really, truthfully. And so I had to be transparent. And from that point on in my life, I want to say I'm probably very transparent. Like, it ain't many secrets. Like, before I came on the show, I wanted to ask Lydia, okay, so do you want the Deidre that's a teacher, or do you want the Deidre that's your friend?
I want the Deidre that's my friend. Woo, but the Deidre that's the teacher is hilarious too.
Well, you know.
We can write a whole book on that.
My babies, honey, my babies.
So what were you? What did you think you were going to do out of high school? Because it wasn't social work and it wasn't teaching. So what did you?
I was going to be an occupational therapist, and I was going to travel.
Wow.
And be an occupational therapist. Went to FAMU for pre-OT. The plan was I was going to show you also how God works. I didn't get in the OT program at FAM because they sent the mail. So, you know, you had to go through an interview. They sent my mail to Georgia, and I was in Florida. And my mama didn't open it. So I didn't know when my interview date was, missed my interview, didn't even know they had set me up an interview. So I went and changed my major to psychology. I was like, I'm just going to get out of here. And I'll go to entry-level grad school for OT. Well, life happens. Met the ex-husband my senior year. Was applying for OT schools when I found I was pregnant. And I just threw the applications in the trash and never looked back. So I know it was all like, God was like, yeah, that ain't quite what I got for you. Mm-hmm. But, you know, and I thought about several times going back because I fought teaching tooth and nail. When I tell you I fought it. I was like, this ain't my calling. But it was something that just happened naturally in my particular population of kids. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't say I would be no gifted teacher. So, like having to teach gifted kids. But in my population of kids that have experienced childhood trauma, I can speak to them where they understand me, where other people are not going to hear them. I can even say stuff to kids that other teachers probably can't get away with.
Right.
Because it's out of a space of, I'm transparent with them like I am. Like, I don't tell them all my business. Like, I'm hoping none of them decide to watch this video. But,
it's okay.
But yeah, they do. I'm just like, well, you know, hey, Miss Arnold ain't perfect. Keep it moving.
That's right.
So, and I realized that high school was my population, the older kids. So, you know, yeah, you watch God's hand in a lot of stuff. You really do. Like you said, I'm not like I'm not a Bible beater, but I cannot ignore
that is a higher power moving. Absolutely. I call him God the universe because he's a higher power and he is absolutely present in how we move
in everything.
So
how he lines people up. Yeah, the way he lines people up, who you're with, you know, just everything. I think about last year, Janae and Lydia came to celebrate my birthday, right? And it was so wonderful, and it was crazy. Like, I would have never thought that Janae would have come to my birthday. We're not like besties, but she came, and like her energy was perfect. Like, every woman that came, it was obvious that it was ordained for them to be there. Well, this year I was calling myself gonna go to Africa. I'm all off topic, and I couldn't understand in January why God was shutting it down.
Yeah.
And I was distraught. Like, why isn't God letting me go to Africa? Like, this is crazy. I'm still going somewhere in the back of my head, and bam, March, here we are, and everybody quarantined. And we don't know when we're going to come out of this. And I would have been out of a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, so just watching and trusting. A lot about trusting. A whole lot about trusting. Lydia, I like your earrings.
Thank you. So I'm glad you brought this up. So I always wear earrings that are handmade. So I go to different festivals. Like right now, I would probably be leaving a festival right now. But
I know it's killing you.
I go to craft festivals, but these earrings actually were made by a girl in India. So I do work with human trafficking in the States, the domestic minor sex trafficking, and this organization is actually a group of attorneys that assist with prosecuting people who are found to be guilty or for sex trafficking, basically. And what they do is they actually give the girls a living wage. So when they take them out, they actually give them a living wage, and this is what they do. They make jewelry. They make earrings, jewelry, and all that kind of stuff. And they also do a foot washing ceremony with them, and they rename them. So it's kind of like our living waters here in Atlanta, but it's over in India, and they actually provide a place for them to stay. They reunite them if they have family members, like children and stuff like that. But the main thing is to provide them a way to actually make money.
Nice.
When they get them out of the trafficking. So these are some earrings.
Nice. I like them. My ADHD, I've been looking at it. Nicole, I do have a question, because something else that I have in common with you is, but you've put all your stuff in action though. That is I'm still working on that. Your health.
Oh, no, ask me first. Don't assume.
Okay, your little health. You were talking about your, or maybe that was in a biography. I'm not even sure where I read it at. I'm assuming it was in the book about a health spa type thing.
Yes, Zen. Yes,
Zen. So, I back in what was that, Lydia? Maybe 2014, I think. Mm-hmm. I started Zen. That is a spa, and it actually was originally birthed because I lost a child. I had a miscarriage, and so I tend to throw my emotions, and that's when my creative side moves. Is when I'm at those broken places and I'm trying to pick up the pieces and figure it out. I'm my most creative.
Oh, nice.
So that's why I created the spa, but I've definitely closed a huge chapter in my life. So anything that I did in the decade of the 2000 is closed out, no longer exists. Every home I owned, I sold it. Every business, for the most part, I'm reinventing it. So one of the things that I want to do with the spa is create a women's, and I did a little test group with Lydia and a few of my other close friends. What year was that? 14, 15. What was that? 17? Was it 17?
It was 17. No. I think wasn't it 18, 2018?
18. It may have been 18.
Yeah.
I did a little healing a brunch, and it was a healing brunch. So I told all of them to come. I said, if you're going to be my friend, you have to come to this brunch. I know it was like, woo, who does this bully? If you're going to be my friend, you got to come to this brunch. If you don't come, we ain't friends.
Well, let me talk about the brunch, because you're not, she ain't going to say it right. So she did an amazing job. And it literally was kind of like being online. Because it's like you have to get to a certain point where everything is taken off and you come back rebuilt when it's over. And basically she invited us over for brunch. And she handpicked people, and you kind of didn't know who was going to be there or whatever. But, it was very threatening, because she's like, you better come to this brunch. She has like bags, and in a bag she has these shirts and the matching bag and just all this. It's like going to a women's conference. She had a freaking chef there. I mean, and this was in her house. She also had a healer there, like
I had a healer. I had a healer there.
Ayana Vazanch.
She did train under her.
She trained under Ayana. This lady who trained under Ayana. Okay. And so we had fellowship time, but then we had this healing part. And there was like a circle, and she said different things, and you had to come in this circle if it applied to you. That, Nicole, which you don't know this, that is when I found out how broken I was. I'm about to cry. I had no idea, because people who know me, they make jokes about, how strong I am and this and that. My dad tells me all the time, he said, when the apocalypse comes, it's going to be you and the roaches still standing. He's like, I just can't believe all the things you're able to do. I went into that circle, guys, every single time. And the questions were really like, has this happened to you? Has that happened to you? This happened to you? Has that? And at one point when I noticed, there was one point where no one went in a circle, and I knew it had happened to me. That took so much courage for me to go in there, but I was totally...
And how many more women joined you once you took the first step?
Yes.
Other of us joined and took it too.
Yes. And whether it happened to them or not, they did not leave me in there by myself.
Oh, nice.
So it was like amazing. It was beautiful. And because all of the women that came they're powerful in their circle, very powerful in their field. So we've not gotten back together as a group. We're on a little text group, but it was amazing that Nicole was even able to get us all together in one room. And we were 6 hours.
Yes.
We were in there like a full work day. It was unbelievable, and we barely touched the surface. I mean, people cried who I didn't even know could cry. Like, there's some women who so strong and so just hard acting, and I saw tears come out their face. I thought they were leaking. I didn't think it was. And I was like, oh Lord! But it was just so beautiful for Nicole to bring us all together like that, and it was just something you could tell God had her just do, because all of us were operating in our spaces, in our fields, and just doing stuff every day, and we had no idea. Some of us were on the verge of a total breakdown, meltdown, and they restored them to get them to finish what they were supposed to do. And I don't think they would have gone out and sought this. So if Nicole could recreate that for other women, I think that would be absolutely amazing.
And that's the intent with the spa, is it was for me to close it, and I had that group with you all, and I knew what my true depthness of my calling needed to be. Because if we could move in the space that we moved, and the power that all of us had within our own right, and I told them to leave all their Gucci's and Louis and
Nicole, they struggled. But listen, Nicole struggled too, because she told everybody they were mad because she had on. They stripped her off when they got there. They're like, "Oh no, lashes!" They took them off too. Housewives are doing it. I just want y'all to know. She was like, "No, just come as you are, or whatever." And they did struggle with that.
We all did. And I said, and take your pocketbooks and put them back in the car, and you can put your stuff in this trash bag.
Yep. Because we made us put our stuff in the trash.
In the trash, yes. Because we identify by our things. So if none of us have anything on, I don't know that you are the assistant principal of a high school, and you work with trafficking girls, and you got a podcast. I mean, I don't know you this big like icon that I need to even be, that I can't be who I am. I don't know that about you. I just have to trust it and trust this process. And every woman in that circle from that day, they have not been, their life, all of our lives have been totally uprooted, disrupted, dirt thrown across the room. We probably slobbing and foaming at the mouth. It's like, and everybody keeps saying that goddamn circle Nicole put us in. Something happened in that circle. Something happened in that circle, and it forced all of us to move in our purpose. So when you see us now, we're polished a little more than what we were when we first stepped in that circle. We are all pulling it back together. But that circle definitely disrupts everything that we knew. Once we left those doors, nothing that we knew was the same was ever the same again.
Oh,
it was life changing. So that's what my intent is with the spa. It's to create that, but it to be a holistic center, a healing wellness center for women. I'm going to try to do one. I've been talking to Lydia about it a lot. In May, it's a young man that is a Asian guy, and he's an Omega. He lives in California. He graduated from Georgia State. Young guy that does meditation, and it raises your self-awareness and your vibration. So I've been doing them to raise my energetic space and level and all of my gifts and tools so that I can be helpful and excuse me, and for my son. Because what we don't realize is that the generational kids that we now parent and you all serve are children that are really gifted spiritually, and their struggles are because they're gifted, but there's nobody out there teaching them how to use their gifts
and walking their gifts.
So they don't find their place in this earth, and they want to remove themselves from the earth because they're so gifted. They don't understand the power and how life-changing they are. So I want to make sure that at some point I make a difference, because I have too many people around me that specialize in kids, not to figure out how to first heal ourselves so we can then, when we heal ourselves, our children automatically heal.
They sure do. They sure do.
We got to heal ourselves.
Yeah. So with that said, we're going to take a quick break, and we are going to be right back for some closing words.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KeversVoice.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
Now, you can't live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character. Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation.
Welcome back. So I want to give a shout out to Dr. Kraft, who is a FAMU Rattler, and she has made a few comments, and she talks about trauma and how it's relative, and she appreciates you guys' strength for sharing those things. But also she talked about normalizing experiences, and this is an opportunity for someone to say, wow, I experienced the same thing. I thought I was the only one in the world to experience that. And just to know that you're not by yourself in dealing with some of these things. And that's why, this book, this is why I sat on Dee's heart to share these stories, because she understands that. And she knows how powerful it is when you have women that have made it through and they're able to share those experiences with others. Because you don't want to, when I tell my kids this all the time, and I tell them, when you look at someone that is the opposite of what you want to be, it could be someone on the streets, it could be someone that is, 50 years old and they're having to live from place to place, or it could be just picture the life that you don't want. And I tell them, do you think when they were a 15-year-old, they said, one day I want to grow up and be a prostitute, or one day I want to live from, paycheck to paycheck and, work at McDonald's in the morning, and at night I want to take the night shift at Walmart. Those are the goals that they had. And if you've ever, and I know Nicole has done this with her family before, just taking food and stuff downtown Atlanta and pass out and talk to people. She's met people, and I've met people who have college degrees.
Absolutely.
Something happened. And so by sharing these stories, these are all something happened. And we made a different choice. And so by sharing those experiences, I think is really helpful, and it's part of doing God's work, in my opinion, because everyone has a path. And this is something else I tell kids, especially my students that think about suicide or attempt suicide. I tell them, do you know that you are put here for a purpose? And do you understand why the world is so chaotic? Because people choose not to walk in their purpose, or they choose to end their lives early. So that takes the whole world out of whack. So if you leave us, do you understand you are not going to be able to fulfill your purpose? And so it's the same thing with when something happens to you and you choose a different path. That's not the path God has chosen for you. So that's why sharing these kinds of things is so important. So I appreciate you guys for sharing those things. So Janaea, you mentioned that you had some thoughts that resonated with you. So would you like to share?
I would. A few things, because I kind of felt like an active listener in this podcast because I was kind of taking in the stories that we heard earlier today. And when Deidre was talking about the taps on the shoulder, I always say God doesn't have burning bushes necessarily anymore, but the messages are just as clear as the burning bush. And I never regret listening to my intuition, which I think intuition is synopsis with God's word. And I always regret it when I go against my gut 100%. So I don't know what I would have been spared from or what I was walking into, but I know, I mean, it has taken decades for me to be comfortable enough. Whatever I get a gut feeling, I follow it. And sometimes it is just like, okay, is this what I was supposed to do? But you don't know what was on that other side. And being okay with not knowing what was on that other side that you may have missed or circumvented or just whatever, but you have that voice for a reason. And the other thing is, like, this was a for real counseling session for me, because that whole, for whatever reason, I think that I'm supposed to be perfect, and not perfect in the sense of snobby with perfect, but I know I do a lot of things to be good and to be right. And that's not necessarily the way you need to live every aspect of your life. In a lot of ways, I'm carefree and exploring and all of that. But in a lot of other ways, I do a lot of things because it's the right thing to do. And not to say that, you know, I want to be wrong or evil or unjust, but spending so much time trying to be right isn't necessarily right, if that makes sense.
And you know what helped me, Janaea? Who told us that this was right? Like,
that too.
What part of our upbringing made us think this was the only way and that this was what was right? And that, you know what I'm saying? Because that is not necessarily always true. We have the story we told ourselves is not necessarily right.
Yeah. So that message, and I'm trying to get away from that in a sense, but while still staying me, but that you got to get good grades, you got to go to a good school, you got to do this, you got to do that, because that's what the good girls do. Yep. Well, good girls are boring and still have crap. Like, and not boring in this, but they still have issues. They still have
definitely
on, and they just look like
have a whole lot of fun either.
They don't have fun.
They're not fun. So that's something that I have wrestled with personally for the last couple of years, is why is being good so important to me?
Girl, go dig in that childhood.
I think it definitely steals from childhood for sure. All of our stuff, most of it does. But what I get that, Janaea, and one thing that I do is when I get upset with someone and I want to act a certain kind of way, and I really, like, I want to cuss the Airbnb lady out on the text message. And I said, okay, I know I can't do that because I don't want to get it back. But what I can do is call one of my girlfriends, stand in this mirror and say, she don't know me. Because this ain't what she want. I allow all those emotions, I allow them to be exactly what they're going to be. And then I know once I get it out, and then I can act like this with the lady, good luck to you. Then it's like, but behind the scene, I done been a whole ass crazy lady. And then to the gutter, I done did all kinds. I done cut the bottom of the lady's feet in my mind. All kinds of stuff that happened. Her tires, everything. But I pull it together, but I allow myself to feel it. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. Allowing yourself to feel it. And there's nothing wrong with feeling it, and every now and then it ain't nothing wrong with acting it out. Make sure you got a good ride or die with you. That's it.
I was about to say that's where your girls come in handy.
Girls come in at to condone your foolishness. You know what I'm saying? And to tell you, now you know this stupid as hell what we got to go do. But I'm going with you. But it's stupid. But I got you.
Yeah.
And give yourself permission. Because I tell my children, people are going to accuse you of doing stuff whether you do it or not. So what's the difference? You might as well make yourself happy. They're going to say you did it regardless of whether you did it or not. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So who are you perfect to?
Right.
Because when people see you, all they see is what's not perfect.
That's true too.
So what I've learned in this last 8 months of being divorced is self-love. There is nothing more important than my self-love, and when I move in that space, I don't really give a F what people think.
Trying to tell you.
Oh, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm like, well, shit, the virus here, I don't think I've got enough tissue. Worst case scenario, I'm just have to ride around somebody's house, just throw some out the door. I can't be perfect, and I got stacks of tissue. I can't. It's too much. I need to borrow some tissue, then I'll wait.
You want my girl? No way. If I can't come borrow tissue from you, you wasn't one of the ride or dies. No way.
Because the people that love you are okay with you not being perfect. They don't want you to be, because then that means that guy's got to be perfect with you. Don't nobody want to do that with you.
Exactly. Like
okay. And I know that you're perfect because I done seen your work.
Yes.
I wouldn't even want
I got a few friends that, I'm gonna just come to them and it's just gonna be raw and uncut, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. And the friends who I can't do that with, we don't talk often. Well, I can't even say that because me and Lydia don't talk often because she forever busy. But if I send her that text, look, I need to say something. I'm gonna get a call in a few minutes. So those are friends you really need. You need those friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Janelle, you are awesome.
You really are, Janelle.
Well, thank you.
You really are.
I really kind of want to. I don't want to start all over because I do like who I am, and
you can start all over.
I have good qualities, but I know that I need to let that overachiever in me go. Like I'm working
on rebranding. So you want to just rebrand yourself?
Rebranding.
Yeah.
We're all rebranding.
Rebrand too much.
Right,
look, Janelle, don't rebrand too much because we like the model you brought.
The what?
Yeah, don't rebrand too much because we like the energy you bring. Or at least I do. Let me speak for myself. I like the energy you bring. And so I understand we all got to fix whatever's going on. But, the Janelle you present to the world is pretty cool. And I'll never forget my first time meeting you. You know that story. When you mesmerized my newborn. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
My baby was leaning over, trying to get to her. I'm like, I don't know who this woman is, but why does my baby like her?
Yeah, Miss Janelle is that friend that's going to text you and be like, hey, Lydia, what you doing next week? You're like, oh, nothing. Oh, let's go to Zimbabwe. Tickets only $1,200. Let's go. Let's go to next week.
I am that friend too. And that's the part that I don't want to leave, but I need to be comfortable with, or more comfortable with failure and more comfortable with trying stuff out to see if it works instead of going to what I know will work.
Yeah. Well, while you figuring out what's going to work, I need you and Lydia after the corona is gone to get y'all book club assignment together for the whole other year.
I was thinking about that because we had such a great time. We need to have like the annual schedule because all of us are busy. And if we don't put it on the calendar 3 months in, then somebody's going to, and I don't want anybody to not show up. Yeah. Like I want everybody to be able to come every single time.
Well, this is the perfect time for y'all to come up with a book. It's the perfect time for y'all to come up with a book and start planning for the after Corona party.
Or we could do a Corona party, like do one, like, because we got time now.
Yeah, plenty time to read.
Yes. So we're going to
talk about that offline, but that's what I got out of it. I saved all my remarks to the end.
We are going to get on that because, yes, book club is fun, and that's something we have been doing for years, and we need to So I just want to thank you all for being a part of this today. But Nicole sent me something this morning, and I would like to share it with our audience because I think amazing. But it also goes kind of with I attend New Life Church in Decatur, and this goes exactly with what the pastor talked about today as well. But I want to share. It's a poem, and it was found and shared by Dr. Angela in 1869, and it was reprinted during the Spanish flu in 1919. And people stayed at home and read books and listened, and they rested and did exercises and made art and played and learned new ways of being and stopped and listened more deeply. Someone meditated, someone prayed, someone met their shadow, and people began to think differently. And people healed. And in the absence of people who lived in ignorant ways, dangerous, meaningless, and heartless, the earth also began to heal. And when the danger ended and people found themselves, they grieved for the dead and made new choices and dreamed of new visions and created new ways of living and completely healed the earth just as they were healed. Kathleen O'Mara. So I just want to share that with you guys because this is a time for retreat. As the pastor said, he shows several times in the Bible where people had to go in and shut their doors. And make sure this is not a time of complaining or being upset about all the missed trips and the missed brunches and all that. It's time out to get closer with God and heal. And so we talked a lot about the things that were in the book, but it's all about healing and renewing ourselves so that we can present our best selves when this is all over. So I want to thank you again. So make sure you like our pages. And I want everyone to be blessed and have a wonderful, wonderful week.
You're awesome, Nicole and Lydia and Janaea. Yeah.